Let's move to the next big gut upgrade: fermented foods. These are rich in live microbes and have been staples in traditional diets for centuries. Think sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, kefir, yogurt with live cultures, even naturally fermented sourdough. A study from Stanford found that participants who ate fermented foods daily for 10 weeks saw not just an increase in microbiome diversity, but also a measurable drop in inflammatory markers, including interleukin-6, a key player in chronic inflammation. Take Sardinia, one of the world's blue zones, where people live the longest. Fermented sourdough is a dietary staple there. The fermentation process doesn't just make bread tastier. It makes nutrients more bioavailable and introduces beneficial microbes. That's why your grandma's sauerkraut always hit different. Science has finally caught up with her instincts. And here's the best part: you don't need fancy, overpriced jars from boutique stores. Homemade sauerkraut takes just cabbage, salt, a jar, and some patience. Making your own fermented food is oddly satisfying, a kind of microbial self-care. But not all fermented foods are created equal. Many are heat-treated or pasteurized after fermentation, which kills the beneficial bacteria. And some, like vinegar-pickled items, aren't fermented at all. So when shopping, look for labels that say contains live and active cultures. Better yet, rotate your fermented foods to expose your gut to a variety of microbes. The Stanford study had participants eat 6 servings per day. That's a lot. A more realistic starting point? Try 1 serving a day and build up. Now here's a wild one. Researchers recently gave kombucha-derived bacteria to worms. Yeah, worms. But stay with me. These live microbes actually switched on genes in the worms that are normally only activated during fasting, triggering increased fat metabolism. Does that mean kombucha will melt belly fat in humans? Not yet. But it's the kind of research that paves the way for future human trials. Until then, if you enjoy kombucha, go ahead, just rinse with water afterwards. It's acidic and your teeth will thank you. Now let's shift from the plate to the rest of your life. Your microbiome responds not just to what you eat but to how you live. It's listening 24/7. First up, movement. Regular exercise increases microbial diversity and promotes the growth of butyrate-producing bacteria. In other words, it doesn't just help your heart, it feeds your gut too. And here's a bonus. When you exercise outdoors, you expose yourself to environmental microbes from soil, plants, and air, giving your internal ecosystem even more to work with. Then there's sleep. Just a few nights of poor sleep can disrupt your microbiome. Aim for 7 to 9 hours a night, and treat your sleep routine like you treat your nutrition. Seriously. No screens before bed, dim the lights, maybe even use red lighting. And when you wake up, get natural light exposure within the first hour. This helps synchronize your internal clock and improve sleep quality the following night. Last but definitely not least, stress. Chronic stress can open microscopic gateways in your gut lining, increase inflammation, and shift your microbiome into dangerous territory. And the fix isn't complicated, it's human. Practices like mindfulness, breathwork, journaling, time with loved ones, being in nature. All of these help calm the nervous system and through that, protect your gut. Oh, and while we're here, no, your gut does not need a detox. That's a myth. You already have a top-tier detox system built in. Your liver, kidneys, lungs, skin, and yes, your gut lining. Skip the overpriced cleanse kits and focus on real, consistent habits. Fiber, movement, sleep, less junk. That's the real reset. Not some $79 tea with sparkles and false promises. Let's now look at the flip side, the things that silently sabotage your gut health. The first major threat is the overuse of antibiotics and living in an overly sterile environment. Antibiotics are life-saving, no doubt, but they're also microbial napalm, wiping out the good along with the bad. Even a single round can reduce your microbial diversity, and some species might never bounce back on their own. Then there's our cultural obsession with cleanliness, especially post-pandemic. Antibacterial everything, bleach on every surface. No dirt, no pets, no microbes. But here's the catch. Without exposure to the natural microbial world, your immune system doesn't get properly trained. Studies show that kids raised with pets and outdoor time tend to have more resilient microbiomes and fewer allergies. It's not about being dirty, it's about being microbially literate. And while we're at it, don't forget about the antibiotics pumped into animals, the meat we eat. Chickens, cows, pigs. It all adds up, contributing not just to gut imbalance but also to rising antibiotic resistance. This isn't fearmongering. The World Health Organization calls it one of the top global public health threats. So what can you do? If you need antibiotics, and sometimes you will, take them when medically necessary, not casually. When I personally have to go through a course, I follow a strict gut recovery protocol. That begins with prehab, preparing your gut before you even get sick. That means eating a wide variety of plant foods, including fermented foods daily, and taking a well-formulated prebiotic supplement to nourish your beneficial bacteria. Then, during and after antibiotics, it's time for gut rehab. Double down on plant diversity. Pack your meals with herbs, spices, and color. Make fermented foods a non-negotiable daily habit. And use a clinically validated prebiotic supplement, something that contains prebiotic fiber, resistant starch, and polyphenol to support microbial recovery and short-chain fatty acid production. Now, here's a myth that might surprise you. Probiotics are not always helpful after antibiotics. In fact, research shows that taking standard over-the-counter probiotics immediately after antibiotics may actually delay your microbiome's natural recovery. Instead of guessing with a generic pill, focus on whole foods and prebiotics, the fuel your gut really needs. Next gut destroyer: overeating ultra-processed foods. These foods are often low in fiber, stripped of polyphenol, and loaded with additives like emulsifiers, which your microbes simply aren't evolved to handle. In animal studies, common emulsifiers like polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose have been shown to damage the gut lining and increase inflammation. While the human data is still developing, it's probably smart to limit them when possible. Even more problematic, ultra-processed foods crowd out nutrient-dense, fiber-rich meals. Every crinkly wrapped snack you eat is one less opportunity to feed your good microbes. And then there's diet number 3 on the don't do this list: high saturated fat, low fiber. This combo encourages the growth of bile-tolerant, pro-inflammatory bacteria, again, like Bilophila wadsworthia, which is strongly linked to gut issues and systemic inflammation. In contrast, traditional diets rich in fiber promote butyrate-producing microbes and a healthier gut environment overall. It's the Western diet trap. Too much meat, too much fat, too much sugar. Not enough beans, greens, and variety. Another myth to clear up: probiotics are better than prebiotics. Not exactly. While certain strains of probiotics can be useful in specific clinical contexts, the truth is that most people don't know which strain they need. Your best bet? Feed the good bacteria you already have. Prebiotics are the fuel. Probiotics are passengers. Feed the right ones and they'll handle the rest. And now for the whopper of all myths. You can reset your gut in a week. You can't. There's no such thing as a 7-day gut reset. That's just slick marketing. If you've spent years eating poorly, overusing antibiotics, or ignoring fiber, there's no magic pill or cleanse that will undo all that in a week. Real change takes time. It's like yoga, one class won't bring enlightenment, but small, consistent practice over years can transform your life. Your microbiome works the same way. Progress is measured not in days, but in weeks, months, and years of showing up for your health. So how do you know it's working? In the short term, you might notice more regular and comfortable digestion, fewer sugar cravings, more stable energy and mood. Over a few months, you might experience clearer skin, fewer colds, better sleep, improved blood work, and even a slimmer waistline as inflammation decreases. You can also keep a simple gut journal. Track how many different plant foods you eat each week. If you're consistently hitting 30 or more, you're doing something very right. And remember, you don't need expensive microbiome tests. Not yet. The science isn't there. Focus on what you can control: what you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and how you manage stress. To wrap it all up, feed your gut with a variety of colorful plants. Aim for 30 plus per week. Include fermented foods daily. Move your body, sleep well, manage your stress. Avoid overusing antibiotics, minimize ultra-processed junk, and cut back on saturated fat if fiber's nowhere to be found. Your gut is a living garden. Water it with plants. Fertilize it with prebiotics. Protect it from toxins and neglect. Do that consistently and it will thrive, and take the rest of you with it.